Capricorn, welcome to your Capricorn August 2021 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James. For those of you who are just stopping by for the first time, and for those of you who are subscribers, much love and affection to you always. I really enjoy doing these readings for you, and I get such pleasure from hearing back from you that you enjoy them as well. So it's like that virtuous circle that's going on here. Actually, I've read for a few of you Capricorns in the last month, haven't I? And if you'd like to have a personal one-on-one with me, just check out the information below. But in any event, have a look at the website, because I put on there for you some information about clairvoyance, because I'm a clairvoyant, and about astrology, because I use a lot of astrology in these tarot readings. And I think you'll find the information there fascinating, if I do say so myself. But it really is. You'll see my take on both of those subjects that are there, as someone who's been doing this for longer than I care to admit it to. But now we're going to take 5 cards, because 5 is all we need, because each of the cards is jam-packed full of information for you. So let's see what there is first. The Sun. Then what is there for you coming up here? The 8 of Discs. Very interesting. See, now there's the Queen of Cups. Beautiful. I might use this pen to point out some of the esoteric imagery that's in the cards here. I probably won't be able to get a chance to go through all of the imagery, which is quite dense in a lot of the cards. Whoever was the developer, and I have no idea, I don't even know what the deck is called. My daughter found it in a flea market, and it was just wrapped in a ribbon. It didn't have a little white book or anything like that with it. But somebody who actually themselves was schooled in esoteric arts. There's the Chariot. There's the guy surfing under a wave, or as we get a call, getting tubed. I just had a skin cancer cut out of my face. I spent about the first 18 years of my life sitting on a surfboard, you see. Years ago, when I was a young man, in one of the northern beaches of Sydney called Palm Beach. And the UV damage takes a hell of a long time to come through. Although I've been having cancers, really skin cancers, cut out of me really for a long time now. I think it's only a recent thing, but it's not. So the damage that the sun does to your skin is quite dramatic, sadly. And finally, what's this card here have to say? The Emperor. What a great set of cards for you. Well, Capricorn, why don't you now, my friend, come and sit down here next to me. We'll have a good close look at these cards together while I do the reading for you. All right, let me just move over and give you some room there. Now you can see. Let's have a look at this Chariot card first, shall we? That's because I love surfing, and we'll see what there is here. What a fascinating image this is. Well, he is the child of the power of the waters, the lord of the triumph of light. There's a lot of Cancer here, with the moon ruling, and Jupiter, the planet of good luck and prosperity, exalted in this card here. Now, Cancer, the sign of the cardinal inrush of water, is tied to the Hebrew letter Cheth, which is down here. That's a biblical Hebrew letter, Cheth. And that means fence or enclosure. Now in this card, the charioteer is portrayed as a surfer riding, well, surfers call this when you get inside the barrel of the wave. That's called being tubed, where you get inside and you're totally enclosed with water while you're still surfing. That is the goal of every surfer, on as many waves as they can. Now the great wave forms the starry canopy of the chariot, with the spray birthing new stars along the way. Now his board, or chariot, is pulled by a black and a white hippocampus. Now, interestingly, what is a hippocampus, I hear you ask? Well, the plural is hippocampi, or hippocampi. and they're often seen in pairs. Like the sea goat of Capricorn, it's a mixture of an animal with an aquatic creature. And in this case, they are horses above and dolphin underneath. And we can't see the dolphin aspect of it. So in this way, land and sea, dark and light, they mingle and combine all of the elements. Do you know a seahorse shaped portion of the brain is also called the hippocampus, and there's one on either side of the brain, so they too are matched as a pair. This part of the brain is said to regulate spatial navigation and memory. Now, we only see the top half of hippocampi creatures, as I mentioned. Now, white horses specifically represent heroic purity, while black horses represent power and mystery. They can also represent the material side to our inclinations, and the white, the spiritual side to our inclinations. But together, they are the yin, the female, and yang, the male, and a reconciliation of inner and outer balanced forces. Yet beneath the waters is the submerged half of their beings, the dolphin portion. And in Greek mythology, dolphins have a special meaning and are mentioned as companions of many deities, the solar and masculine, and also the lunar and feminine. The Greek word for dolphin comes from the word for womb, appropriate to Cancer, the maternal sign, and for the charioteer, bearer of the grail here, the elixir. In Celtic mythology, they call the dolphin the watcher or protector of the waters, and pirate lore hails the dolphin as a symbol of protection. Now, the sign of Cancer is associated with the moon and the tides, and the hippocampi are both wearing a lunar. See, you might just make sure that you can see in there. The bit that they wear is a lunar bit. See those little crescent moons that's there? That's an interesting touch by the artist, as it turns out. Now, they represent, one is the waxing moon and one is the waning moon. Now the tides go in and they recede. Now while the horses may struggle, the charioteer goes with the flow, with the perfect balance, enthroned rather than conducting. He goes forward, he rides the momentum and masters it, and he's completely absorbed in it. He wears the golden armor of Cancer as he protects and conveys the grail. Now, the grail that he carries is filled with a spiral galaxy of blood and gluten, the two-in-one conveyed. This is very much speaking to you of victory over adversity at last. You have come through a difficult period, haven't you? But now, I think that you are going to start seeing bright days. This is a turning point in your life. You will have the courage to act, which is good, because there's no point in just having the desire to act. You need the courage. You will have success over previous negative patterns. I think there's going to be something of a focus on self-discipline here, maybe some rest and contemplation for you as well. It's a new beginning, change for the good, triumph in the face of adversity, and you overcoming problems, very often with little or no support. You could also find yourself coming to the aid of somebody else. The oncoming change promises to lead to a positive phase in your life. Ready yourself, put your affairs in order, and examine the possibilities. You are going to leave a lot behind. Seek or create for yourself a secure, loving environment. There you can plan the change or journey. I think your body might also need attention and activity now as well, don't you? Now say this to yourself. I motivate others positively. I am responsible for what I cause. I accomplish things well and with ease. I am putting my life in order and preparing for the new beginning. Well, let's see what was sitting just above it, which is, got that nice Queen of Swords there, which is this Eight of Discs. Now, the Eight of Discs is, for me, the Lord of Prudence, and it is the Sun ruling the first decan of Virgo, 23rd of August to the 2nd of September. Now, I also have Mercury associated with the number 8 here. So this number 8, I have a mystical association with the planet of Mercury. Now, Mercury rules 8, and Mercury is also... Now, I'm saying that the Sun is ruling the first decan of Virgo, but Mercury also rules Virgo, and it is exalted in Virgo. So this is very, very favorable for you. And here the Sun energizes Virgo's hard work and attention to detail. There is a strength in doing nothing at all sometimes. See the way these eggs are just sitting below the lantern here, seeking warmth. This is also reminiscent of the Hindu Diwali, which is the festival of lights, which is for the god of prosperity that's there. And this is a prosperous time for you. This is about seeding and sitting back and letting things grow. I think you'll be quite cautious. You'll take some calculated risks. I think you're going to be quite careful with money. And learning and education and upskilling is going to be important to you at this time. But it is important that you do pay attention to structure and to detail, I have to say, as well. This is really about not overextending yourself or underextending yourself, but being in the sweet spot where you can see all the bases. This is, again, such a positive card because this is talking about the flowering, the ripening, the hatching of internal and external richness, wisdom, carefulness, prudence. You need the time to, and the patience to develop something. Don't rush it, as it's something of a long-term endeavor. So be prepared to bide your time, just as these eggs are biding their time, and let it come to fruition. The card is encouraging you to keep doing what you are doing, as it will eventually lead to success. Now, of course, it's going to require dedication, focus, and patience, but as time passes, you will get closer to your goal. Now, I really feel here that it may not be apparent to you, but events are unfolding around you that are going to lead you to your destination. Now, some additional training or study may be required to get to where you want to go, but also make sure that you manage the energies between the different parts of your life. I can tell you this, that which is coming into flower in you is of exquisite beauty and delicacy. Provide for it the protection and nourishment it needs. You don't need to force anything. Everything unfolds at the proper time. Are you giving yourself the protection and nourishment you need now for your development? Say to yourself this: I relax and I trust life to provide me with what I need, and I will cooperate and work with life. Now it seems as if this other major arcana over here is feeling neglected, so why don't we have a look at it? The Emperor. Do you have such good energy this month? I haven't seen anything like this for a long time. There was a film actress I was reading for a few days ago, and she just had a brilliant set of cards like this as well, so she's going to be doing very well for herself. Now, the Emperor, well, what can I say about him? I call him the son of the morning, the chief among the mighty. He is Aries, ruled by Mars with the Sun exalted. And I notice you've also got the Sun card sitting above you. He is the first sign of Aries, the Ram. Now his footgear shows a helmeted warrior. See this little face down here? Well, it shows a little helmeted warrior like the face on Mars or an Egyptian pharaoh. He is the spiritual and creative father, just as I suppose the Empress is the divine mother. Now Aries is the sign of selfhood. Now this nature is expressed as authority. While Mars rules Aries, the Sun is exalted here, and that emphasizes the positive masculine energy that's coming through in this card. And don't be afraid, ladies, it's good for you. The Emperor can be seen also sitting here between two solar symbols. Right. Now, the Emperor seeks to create order with what the Empress has created. Nature creates the honeybee, and I imagine this is his little honeycomb thing going on in here. And man seeks to hive it and tame it with sacred fire. Now this compulsion to order from chaos and the rule of mind over nature is represented by, I think, this compass that's here and this square thing. Do you remember high school geometry? People probably don't use those. Just use rocks and sticks in my day, of course. Now, those symbols there are of the square and the compass. They're symbols of the grand architect of the universe and his desire for structure. The compass is shown, fashioned with a design of the red eagle of alchemy. Can you see that in there? There's the eagle of alchemy sitting there. And it's symbolic of the red tincture and the solar forces, and surmounted by the eye of God, the all-sight, or could also be the eye of Shiva, the all-seeing and omniscient completion of the Holy Trinity. Now this red color, this red tincture, is the equivalent of the guna rajas of Hindu philosophy. It is a force of motion and action, initiative swiftly expended and followed by creation and preservation. And behind the Emperor, the bricks are patterned in, well, what in mathematics, I won't go into the detail of it, is known as the Fibonacci sequence. And that's often seen in patterns of growth in nature. The Fibonacci sequence mathematically is, anyway, I won't go into that other than to say that's there. But it's also found in the shape of pine cones, and it's inherent in the birth rate of bees, incidentally. And this biblical symbol here is called Zadi, or fishhook, and it seems to be growing up as well, so there's a lot of growth and fertility going around here. Now, what can be said is that you will at this time be primarily concerned with power and control over other people or yourself. You will be a natural leader and organizer. Your willpower and judgment through life experience are really going to come to the fore. There's success here again through discipline and application. And interestingly, I think you'll be quite a rational thinker. Now that's good, because we've got to get to this card here. This is Major Arcana, that's not. So the energy of this card is going to be tempered somewhat. But let's get back to our good friend here. Now, I think he's saying that status is going to be important to you during this period. Status is, as is material security and stability. And I think you could be quite volatile and fiery at times, not passive at all. This is really talking about you being a leader, an initiator. There's a lot of creative wisdom going on here, great leadership qualities, adventurousness, there's new beginnings. Ambition is really coming to the fore here, very much so. This is really a good moment for a change or a new beginning for you, so trust your own energy and move with it. What revitalization does your life need? Are there steps you would like to take towards this? Examine yourself critically, especially in regard to your, well, what I'd call subordinates, relationships with subordinates and bosses, superiors and that, and say this to yourself. Well, actually, before I say that, as long as the Emperor's powers are used for transformation and new beginnings, their effect is beneficial. But beware using them to preserve the status quo. When used to preserve the status quo, the structure of the Emperor's realm petrifies. His boldly determined expression becomes frozen. His authority, once grounded in wisdom, expresses an authoritarian domination. Living in fear and change, he attempts to nip any rebellion in the bud, and then he is doomed. He has a resistance to change, which you should not have. Remember, if you're not growing, then you're doing the opposite. I'd say this to your time now, for you during this time. I enjoy initiating projects. I value and honor my leadership ability. I am a responsible person. I trust my power. I rule by serving, and I serve by ruling. Now let's see, what else is there here? Oh, this is Sun card. That's good. Let's have a look at the Sun. Let's see you. Sun. Right, well, the Lord of the fire of the world. Do you know the pineal gland is said to be named because it has the shape of a pine cone, the pineal gland being most often associated with enlightenment and also with clairvoyant ability. We were talking about the Fibonacci sequence below earlier. Well, this Fibonacci sequence is also seen in the structure of the pine cone, and its relationship with light gives it the function of the third eye. Now, the Sun card is very often seen with twins or little children in it. Well, here we have some twins as well. In this case, I think it's twin snakes here. This biblical symbol here is called Reish, and that means head, but it means the front of the head, the part where logical and intellectual thinking is done. And these two snakes have a couple of things going on with them here. Here is an arrow coming out of it, which could be representative of Sagittarius, and this snake is split, which has the sign for Aries, the glyph for Aries. It's also the case that one can see that this could also be the arrow tip of Mars, which is the ruler of Aries. But here what we have is, we have the head, the heart, and the eye and the mind all working together. It also looks like there is a double solar influence in this card here, because if I'm not mistaken, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. There's 12 rays coming out from the sun. Each of these rays has a sign of the zodiac on it, so that goes to show the influence of the zodiac there. And each of the in between, and on each of those things there's also 3 other zodiac glyphs, and they are glyphs of each of the decans. You know, each sign has 3 decanates or decans of 10 degrees each, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, and 20 to 30. 12 times 30 is 360, which brings up the circle or the wheel of the horoscope. And this stuff here, look, this is a bunch of Kabbalistic mysticism, which we don't really have the time to go into now. And here is this lemon skate, which is the eternity symbol, which also has on it signs of the zodiac as well. This is a very creative energy. It's an awareness. Fulfilling love relationships is coming through here. Spirituality. Look, yes, I think it's there's going to be a financial upboost for you, and it's also a time of marriage. So you may hear of marriage coming along here. The sun is the source of life and represents success and abundance, and this is going to follow you in your life at the present. The energy will get you through tough times. The sun is going to illuminate your path forward after what has been something of a trying time, I suspect, hasn't it? Well, now is the time to embrace your goals and give it everything you've got. If you've had tough times, things are going to get better. You can move mountains. Now, the fulfillment of your wishes is possible here and now. Relax and give yourself up to the dance. The right partners will find each other. What task or project is on the agenda for you now? Visualize the light and warmth of the sun in your chest and heart. For the next few days, remind yourself several times daily that the sun is shining in you and through you. And say to yourself, I work well in teamwork situations. I enjoy making contributions to group efforts. I am a cooperative person, and I am in harmony with the divine light, which fills me and guides me. Now, finally, quickly, let's have a look at our lady here, the Queen of Cups. Well, she also has those bees that we were talking about here for, which is for fertility. She has the swan, which is there above her. Or actually, rather, it's not a swan, it's an ibis with open wings. The ibis is a waterfowl, and alchemically, this symbolizes the lunar forces and cycles of time, the realms of duality and successful change. As a variety of the stork family, it also signifies the maternal instinct. Now the queen sits with her skirts pulled around her like water, gazing at her reflection in the river waters below. The interesting thing about this queen is, and it's the reflection bit that gets me, is that incidentally, I think that Gemini and Cancer are going to be important to you. I call her the Queen of the Thrones of Waters here. She really is a woman who is very intuitive, an observer, dreamy, tranquil, poetic, kind yet kind of passive, although I think that you could well have some psychic abilities during this period. The thing about her, though, is that she can see herself in others and also see through others and reflect that back to them. She's a good spiritual teacher. And she is intuitive and emotionally mature, able to get along with people and relate to her friends in a deep way, practical and communicate her feelings as you'll do. Need to get in touch with your inner self, I think. Also, as your mother said, you're judged by the company that you keep, and she's very impressionable to any impact that comes from the outside around her, so she's very impressionable to what other people are saying or to what other people are doing. So it's an important time to make sure that you remove negative people from your life and try and minimize the impact of external events that are occurring to you if they are negative. Well, that's the way it is for you this month. Well, splendid. I really enjoyed doing that. I must say, I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I did providing it to you. As I say, I really do enjoy doing these monthly readings for you. So please drop me a note of appreciation on the channel and give my morale a bit of a boost, and keep that virtuous circle going around. I've got to say, it's always good to see you each month, and we're getting ready for the next month. Now, before the next month, though, just remember one thing, and that one thing is this, and it is that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. So until then, it's bye for now.